Hello students, let's take the sixth chapter in geography, rocks. Rocks, that is the difference between minerals and rocks, types of rocks, igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic, and the characteristics and formation. Also, we'll study about rock cycle. Rocks and minerals. Earth is made up of rocks and minerals. The rock forming the crust of the earth are in solid state. Any mass of harder portion of the earth's crust can be called a rock. They make up most of the solid material of the lithosphere. It has no definite composition. Most of the rocks are mixtures of various minerals in different proportions. Rocks may be hard or soft. A mineral is a natural occurring substance having a definite chemical composition and physical properties. A rock having a large proportion of a single mineral is called an ore of that mineral. Magnetite, an ore of iron, is an example of such rocks. Mining is an important activity where such ores are found. Types of rocks. The crust of the earth is formed by a variety of rocks differing from each other in composition, texture, color, etc. On the basis of the mode of their formation, the rock can be categorized into three broad groups. The three major types of rocks are igneous rock, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. Difference between rocks and minerals. Rocks. Rocks are aggregate of mineral elements. A rock has no definite chemical composition. Minerals are organized to form rocks. The three main types of rocks are igneous rock, sedimentary rock, and metamorphic rocks. Basalt, granite, sandstone, slate, and quartz are some important types of rocks. Minerals. Minerals are solid inorganic substances occurring naturally. Minerals have a definite chemical composition. Elements are organized to form compounds which are known as minerals. An element is a pure substance. Four chief minerals groups are silicates, carbonates, sulfides, and metallic minerals. Iron, silicon, magnesium, nickel, calcium, potassium, and sodium are abundant minerals of the earth. Types of rocks. Igneous. Igneous can be further classified extrusive and intrusive. Sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks can further be classified mechanically formed, chemically formed, and organically formed. And metamorphic rocks. Each of these broad groups can be further subdivided on the basis of the physical and chemical properties. Let's learn more about igneous rocks. The term igneous comes from the Latin word ignis, which means fire. Igneous rocks are those which have solidified from the molten material of the lava ejected from the interior of the earth. Due to high temperature in the interior of the earth, the rocks are in molten state. This molten material is called magma. Magma is ejected from the interior of the earth to the surface through volcanic activity. The volcanic material may be in solid or liquid state. Volcanic material deposited on the surface of the earth is called lava. Igneous rocks are formed through deposition and solidification of volcanic material. Igneous rocks are of thermal origin. Since they were the first rocks to be formed, so igneous rocks are also known as primary rocks. Igneous rocks are generally hard, have no layers, and do not contain fossils. Most of them, beside being crystalline, are impervious, that is, water cannot percolate through them. These rocks are further divided into extrusive rocks, intrusive rocks. Extrusive rocks. These are formed when the solidification of lava takes place on the surface of the earth. When the cooling of the magma occurs on the surface, the cooling process takes place rapidly, leading to formation of small crystals. A typical example of such rocks is basalt. It is a very fine-grained crystalline rock. The lava emerging on the surface spreads over a large area, and such flows of lava form extensive shields. An example of shields made through deposition of basaltic lava is the Deccan Trap region of Peninsular India. The black soil found in many parts of Peninsular India has been formed after weathering of such rocks. Intrusive igneous rocks. These are formed when the magma solidifies below the surface of the earth. When the magma cools below the surface of the earth, the cooling process takes place slowly. Slow cooling allows time for large crystals to form. So, intrusive igneous rocks have large visible crystals. One of the examples of such rocks is dolerite. Sometimes the deposition of the magma takes place at a great depth. Such rocks have very large crystals and they are called plutonic rocks. Granite is one of the rocks formed in this manner through solidification of magma at great depths. Igneous rocks formed in this manner may be exposed to the surface due to denudation. Granite, found in many parts of the peninsular region of India, is an example of such rocks. Sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are formed through consolidation of accumulated sediments deposited in huge depressions like sea or lake. The sediments are derived by denudation of the rocks by agents of erosion like rivers, glaciers, winds, and waves. These agents of erosion carry the eroded particles of rocks to the huge depressions and deposits them in layers. Such deposited material is called sediments. Sediments contain loose particles of gravel, sand, silt, and clay in various proportions. Over a period of time, a significant thickness of sediments accumulates and it gets consolidated or compacted to form hard rocks. The consolidation of sediments takes place due to pressure of overlaying material and presence of cementing substances like lime. As they are formed through the process of sedimentation, the rocks formed in this manner are called sedimentary rocks. They are also called secondary or derived rocks, as the material is derived from other rocks. These rocks are in fact known by various names, as most of the rocks debris is deposited in water bodies. These rocks are called argillaceous rocks. The process of sedimentation continues for a long time and the sediments are derived from different sources. As a result, these rocks have layers due to which they are given names like stratified or layered rocks. The particles in the sediments get sorted out in the water bodies according to their size. Generally, the larger particles form the lower layers, while the finer particles form upper layers. This sorting of sediments is also a cause of presence of layers or strata in the rocks, formed through sedimentation. The sedimentary rocks contain layers and they are generally soft. They can be scattered easily. Most of them are porous and permeable. Very often, the remains of plants and animals may be found in the layers of sedimentary. Such remains are called fossils. Most of the fossils are found in sedimentary rocks. The sedimentary rocks can contain fossils because these rocks are formed on the earth's surface under the water at very low temperatures and pressure. The effects of pressure and temperature can change organic matter deep buried under the sea millions of years ago into fossil fuels. The transformation takes millions of years. Coal forms from dead plants that sink to the bottom of swamps. The organic matter is buried under sediments and slowly transformed into peat. If the peat is buried under more sediments, it can become coal. Fossils help in determining the age of sedimentary rocks. Rocks, rock type, formation, and examples. Rock type: mechanically formed sedimentary rocks. Formation: these are formed through consolidation of gravel, sand, sill, and clay sediments. Examples: sandstone, shale, and clay. Rock type: chemically formed sedimentary rocks. Formation: these are formed by precipitation of minerals from water. Examples: gypsum and rock salt. Rock type: organically formed sedimentary rocks. Formation: these are derived from the remains of plants and organisms. Characteristics of sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are found in layers, so they are known as stratified rocks. Strata means layer. Most of these rocks contain fossils which are in the forms of print of leaves, insects, shells, or some hard parts of old living beings. Sedimentary rocks have pores in which water can easily enter. They do not have any types of crystals. These rocks are prone to weathering because they are soft. These hold all reserves of coal, oil, and natural gas. On the basis of the mode of their formation, the sedimentary rocks are divided into three groups: mechanically formed rocks, chemically formed rocks, and organically formed rocks. Metamorphic rocks. Metamorphic rocks are formed through the process of metamorphism. The term metamorphism means alteration or transformation. Metamorphism may involve both physical as well as chemical changes in the characteristics of the pre-existing rocks. Metamorphism of rocks takes place when they are subjected to high temperature or pressure. Due to extreme pressure, generating heat, or by coming in contact with volcanic material. The original materials found in a rock are altered and new minerals are formed. The joints in the rocks are pressed and often crystallization may also occur. The rocks thus formed are generally more compact, harder, and bulky than the original rocks. Metamorphic rocks may have layers, but the layers are highly compressed. Generally, fossils are not found in these rocks. Most of the metamorphic rocks are impermeable. Metamorphic rocks may have layers like sedimentary rocks, but the layers are highly compressed. The process of metamorphism may take a very long time. Under pressure or heat, various sedimentary and igneous rocks are metamorphized to produce new rocks. Sandstone, for example, may be changed into quartzite, limestone into marble, clay and shale into slate, granite into genesis, basalt into schist, and coal into graphite. Depending upon its causes, metamorphism can be of two types: the contact or thermal metamorphism and regional metamorphism. Characteristics of metamorphic rocks. These rocks are very hard and have close bonded structures. The metamorphic rocks are formed when igneous or sedimentary rocks are transformed by the action of intense heat and pressure. The formation of metamorphic rocks takes place over a long period of time. Contact or thermal metamorphism is caused by heat. Sedimentary rocks coming in contact with hot magma may get heated excessively and thus get altered. They may get melted also. Melting rocks and their solidification again may lead to crystallization. The regional metamorphism is a result of excessive pressure and resultant heat caused by Earth's movement. Such metamorphism may influence rocks over a large area. Sedimentary rocks are often metamorphosized during Earth movements, leading to mountain building. Many of the former sedimentary rocks in the Himalayas got metamorphosized during the process of mountain building. Many of the Himalayan sedimentary rocks got metamorphosed during the process of mountain building. Metamorphic rocks are associated with a number of valuable minerals. Metallic minerals, including gold and silver, are often found in metamorphic rocks. Rock cycle. Rocks forming the crust of the earth change from one type to the other due to various processes. This change of rocks from one type to the other is called rock cycle. The primary rocks forming the crust of the earth were the igneous rocks. Various agents of degradation eroded the igneous rocks, and the eroded material was deposited to produce sedimentary rocks. Both igneous and sedimentary rocks were subjected to pressure and heat, and they were converted into metamorphic rocks. Rocks forming the crust of the earth change from one type to the other due to various processes. This change of rocks from one type to the other is called rock cycle. The primary rocks forming the crust of the earth were the igneous rocks. Various agents of degradation eroded the igneous rocks, and the eroded material was deposited to produce sedimentary rocks. Both igneous and sedimentary rocks were subjected to pressure and heat, and they were converted into metamorphic rocks. Agents of denudation may erode metamorphic rocks also to form sedimentary rocks again. Under the influence of various earth movements, the rocks of igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic types may get buried very deep inside the earth, where they might melt to form magma. The magma may be forced to the surface of the earth through volcanic activity and may solidify to produce fresh igneous rocks. In this manner, the rocks are continuously transformed from one type to the other. through the process of rock cycle. A generalized version of the rock cycle is provided in the figure given in your textbook on page number 65. Let's go through a comparative study of the different types of rocks. Igneous rocks. These are formed by the cooling and solidification of magma. These are made of crystals. Metallic minerals are found in these rocks. Basalt and granite are examples of igneous rocks. Sedimentary rocks. These are formed by the erosion, transportation, deposition, and consolidation of sediments. These are formed in layers, also called stratified rock. Non-metallic minerals are found in these rocks. Limestone and coal are example of sedimentary rocks. Metamorphic rocks. These are formed due to the action, intense heat and pressure. These rocks are very hard. Gems, precious stones and metallic minerals are found in these rocks. Diamond and marble are example of metamorphic rocks. Economic significance of rocks. Most of the human activities are performed on the rock sphere of the earth. Therefore, rocks hold a great significance for human beings. Formation of soil. The rocks provide parental material for the soils. Soil is a complex mixture of minerals and organic matter, and it supports growth of all types of plants. Bulk of the soil comprises of the minerals that are derived through weathering of rocks. Weathering is the process of disintegration and chemical transformation of rock material. Thus, all agricultural production on the surface of the earth depends indirectly upon the rocks. Storehouse of minerals. The rocks contain a variety of minerals. Some of the rocks have a large content of certain minerals, and these minerals are obtained from such rocks. Such a rock having a large content of a particular mineral is called an ore of that mineral. We obtain all minerals from different rocks. Sedimentary rocks are especially rich in organic minerals like coal and petroleum. Most of the metallic minerals like iron, copper, bauxite, lead, zinc, and gold are obtained from the igneous or metamorphic rocks. Precious stones like diamond, ruby, and emerald are also obtained from igneous and metamorphic rocks. Many of the minerals are used as industrial raw materials to make products like cement, glass, and chemical fertilizers. Limestone, clay, gypsum are examples of such rocks. Building materials. A number of rocks are used as building materials for the construction of houses, roads and dams. Some of the building stones have a large demand and they are considered quite valuable. Marble and granite are examples of such high-priced building materials. They are not only durable but also provide an attractive finish to the buildings. However, only the rich people use such building materials. The poor people obtain building materials for their houses from the common rocks such as sandstone, quartzite, and limestone. The rocks thus fulfill a number of human needs. Let's go through the glossary. Igneous rocks. The term igneous comes from the Latin word ignis, which means fire. Igneous rocks are those which have solidified from the molten material of or the lava ejected from the interior of the earth. Magma. Molten material beneath or within the earth's crust from which igneous rock is formed. Lava. Volcanic material deposited on the surface of the earth is called lava. Sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are formed through consolidation of accumulated sediments deposited in huge depressions like sea or lake. Metamorphic rocks. Metamorphic rocks are formed through the process of metamorphism. The term metamorphism means alteration or transformation. Rock cycle. Rocks forming the crust of the earth change from one type to the other due to various processes. This change of rocks from one type to the other is called rock cycle. What is a rock? Any mass of the harder portion of the earth's crust can be called a rock. Name 3 types of rocks. Sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous are the 3 types of rock. What is magma? The molten material from a volcano is called a magma. What are primary rocks? Rocks which were formed due to solidification of the molten material or the lava ejected from the interior of the earth are called as primary rocks. For example, igneous rocks. Since they were the first rocks to be formed, so igneous rocks are known as primary rocks. What are secondary rocks? Rocks which are formed by a process of sedimentation are called as secondary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are called as secondary rocks because they have been formed in this manner. The material of sedimentary rocks are derived from other rocks. These rocks are in fact known by various names. What is the major basis of classification of rocks? Rocks can be classified on the basis of the mode of their formation. The rocks can be categorized into 3 broad groups. The 3 major types of rocks are igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. Mention any 2 chief characteristics of the igneous rocks. Igneous rocks are those which have solidified from the molten material or the lava ejected from the interior of the earth. Due to high temperature in the interior of the earth, these rocks rise and are in a molten state. This molten material is called the magma. The second important characteristic of igneous rocks are these rocks are generally hard, have no layers, and do not contain fossils. Most of them, besides being crystalline, are impervious, that is, water cannot percolate through them. These rocks may be further divided into extrusive and intrusive rocks. Mention any 2 characteristics of sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are formed through consolidation or accumulation of sediments deposited in huge depressions like seas or lakes. The sediments are derived by denudation of the rocks by agent of erosions like rivers, glaciers, and winds and waves. As these rocks are formed through the process of sedimentation, the rocks formed in this manner are called sedimentary rocks. As these rocks have layers, due to which they are given names like stratified or layered rocks. The second characteristic of sedimentary rocks are they can contain fossils because these rocks are formed on the earth's surface under the water at very low temperature and pressure. What is rock cycle? Rocks forming the crust of the earth change from one type to the other due to various processes. This change of rocks from one type to the other is called rock cycle. Along with this clip, I am sending you another documentary. Kindly go through that documentary carefully and try to understand this chapter in a better way.